What's next? What's next is another excellent talk. This time by Volodymyr Tsap, who's the Chief Technical Officer at Shell, CTO. Talk about motivation and inspiration, which dovetails very nicely with some of the topics that Kelsey and I had a chance to go over. So, how do we stay motivated, right, as individuals? How do we keep our team motivated, right? Especially when there's stuff going on in the real world, right? Common motivations, inspirational patterns. And how does that apply sort of with that DevOps mindset? So without further ado, take it away, Vladimir.
Dan, thanks for introducing me and thanks for having me and to say hi from center of Paris from my place in Kiev. Are you right now in my kitchen? And let me start with the words that every Ukrainian know now. Доброго вечора, ми з України. I'm pleasant to be here, and it's really important for us today to support every effort for Ukrainian people to become strong, independent, and near to our victory. And my topic is about motivation and inspiration, but the main things are behind that topic. Why I start thinking about that? Little background. We have a small company in Kiev. We build and support infrastructures for customers around the world. We have a set of engineers, and they working fine. Everything was clear, and we have normal success in our business. But then the war starts, and it was very, very unbelievable. As for me, I can't even imagine how that could be in real world, in the world where we're living, and what's happened. At first, it was like shock. It's normal. It's normal for everyone that this is like these obstacles leads us to very, very demotivated state. And then we understand that we came into the place where whole set of our employees or engineers are become demotivated. But we have continuous business. We can stop them from doing their work because of that. And on the flip side of that, we need to keep our heads cold, at least the management level. And we need to understand that work means money, money means weapon and aid, and weapons mean victory, and victory means peace. And only in that set of the things we can come back to the normal life. So we understand that we should keep our eye on supply our staff, our engineers, our employees with some things that would be motivational for them. And we understand that for our country, the things like donations from external sources, from external countries, is very good. But when that won't be so long, at some point we need to do this by ourselves. And the source of this healthy and successful country is that we supply some products, some services externally, earn money, and become strong from that fact. So our main point is to how we can keep work for our engineers, for our business in the same pace as it was before. And the story behind that was pretty narrow, I think. After a few days when war started, we called everyone and asked if they have good conditions, are they safe, and most of them was good. And then we think that, okay, but that guys can't work now. They are demotivated. I guess it's not about only about my team. It's for everyone. They came into that situation, and you don't have plan what you would do when the war start. Yeah, so you can even imagine what is that and what it would brings to you if the banking system would work, if your customers would work. Yeah, definitely. We have a lot of customers from inside Ukraine, and they definitely can't work. They can't pay money. So we try to find external sources where we can engage some new customers from outside, and that we need to do quickly because we need money. And as I say, money means victory. And what things happen next? We arranged small meeting with our CEO and human resource manager. She's like 24 years to 27 years old, but she looks very solid. And we asked her, okay, what we should do with that situation, that everyone can't work. We understand that, no blaming here. We understand that conditions and situation where they come. And at first, we decided that we need to measure who is on what level and if they can do and fulfill their objectives. So we asked her, and she talked with each one, and we just create table with the percentage of how you feel, what would be how you think when how much time you can spend working, and how much time you need to spend to came into the like normal common sense. Maybe you need some help, what you need to get from us, what how we can bring something. And I can say there's no like silver bullet on that. There's no like single point that you can tell for everyone, okay, let's do go this road and you will be good with like this problem that you have. And then I dig into like theory. Yes, that the best condition is to like order some therapist and make sessions with everyone. But that was not the case. And just I go to the really roots of that motivation stuff. So what exactly motivate us? That could be like plenty things. That could be even hunger, fear, love, faith, family, anything. But there is like common things that actually means more when you work, when you're on some working job position, and uh, the list is pretty clear. So this the first thing is the meaningful of the work, yeah, that you service for others. Then it's like challenging, it's like sport. Then goes for the remuneration and compensation for the work. It's mean money. Then the simple things like enjoyment of activity. I like this job because yeah, I enjoy things what I'm doing. And then that could be some cultural, religious, or even patriotic. So let's think in the perspective of these aspects. What does it mean? So meaningful of the work. Uh, what that about? How you can be glad and motivated from servicing other people. In that case, we need to understand our impact. So each of the engineers needs to understand why he or she doing that things and why they are important and what is your personal impact to this common values that your organization brings to human beings, to our other companies, other people. And If you understand that, that would be very helpful to you to wake up in the morning and start working and understand that you produce something that would be useful, and that something dependent on you, and that is why you working here. And that impact, if you understand that, and if you see that someone from your team just don't understand what he's doing, and say, okay, I'm creating Kubernetes clusters, I'm installing some controllers there, I'm monitoring something, but how helpful is that? It's not about managing some things or integrating some technologies with each other. It's about end products, because that services, that technologies help other people to buy food, to order medicine, to ride taxi, or do other useful stuff. Yeah. So you are the part of that whole flow, of that whole process. And the first thing you need to understand what the value you brings and the whole organization brings to set of that people, and your impact, even if you think that it is small, sometimes you can underestimate that impact, and sometimes you think, I'm just small piece in that mechanism. No, this mechanism works because you are there, and that's bring us to the next like level of motivation. It's about challenging sport. It's when you glad and happy when you prove yourself that the things I'm doing great. I'm doing better than someone. I'm doing that, or my team doing that better than other teams, or my company doing that better than other companies. It's like competition. It's like normal process where you have competitors. You see your targets, and in our space, in our domain, it's very say clear that we often do something that never no one does before. Yeah. So uh, it's because you got the tasks, and if that tasks already done by someone, you can go to the GitHub, I don't know, to some storage with knowledge, and get that information and just replicate that. But most of the tasks are the tasks that no one deals with that before, and you just learn and like invent. You like great doing great things. It's like launching into the space when you came to the idea that you are like great, like real sportsman or like real astronaut. I don't know. And for that purpose, I think the most important things is how you define the tasks. Yeah. So if you, the human brain uh, likes sugar, and I mean, like hypothetical sugar. It's when you can complete something, when you have clear definition of done, and from day to day, you just close some portion of work and you got the satisfaction. And that could be like in your clear mind, I got the satisfaction, but uh, it's very important to understand that if I can complete something, then I can complete next things and next things and next things. And that drives a lot. That brings you to the understanding that you can, and you can do that. Yeah. And for that, you just need to define the task very, very clearly and make them achievable. Yeah, so just if you have a large task, just to create everything, whole infrastructure, I don't know, uh, just learn how to make them smaller and achievable. That's something very, very important to have. because your brain needs that sugar. The next thing I'd like to talk is the remuneration or compensation of the work. A lot of people think that they are doing their work because they got money for that. It's true, but it's not the main things. Definitely, if you work on something, you got money, but you bring value, and that value also countable. So at least you got your money and you spend that to buy some things, some, I don't know, bread, and that baker can buy for that money some else, and that whole economic works on that. And beside that, you bring some value because of your work also for someone, and someone got additional money for that. And the whole economics works on top of that money flow. You need to understand that your impact is not countable only about money. It's about things that you create, and this is like only compensation for that thing. For someone, it's even hard to understand how they would spend those money. Yeah, uh, it's quite abnormal if you don't understand what you really like. Yeah, so if you like just money, I think you have a problem. If you like, I don't know, good house or buy cars or something for you that you can buy for the money, you can dream about that, but not about money as they are. And yeah, so if you try to motivate, if your motivation deals with the money, you can like rethink why do you need that, and how you can got those things, and that could really motivates you more than you think only about money. Another thing is the enjoyment of the activity. It's, I think, one of the most valuable priority for me personally is when your work is your hobby. I really like to wait until Monday, and on the Monday morning, I wake up early and think, oh, it's a great day to play with some new stuff. It's a great day to test some fancy things around some cloud native stuff. And I love that. And I love the people who working with me, and I love to have a coffee break and discuss some topics about that. And I learn constantly something new, and I have really great joy. I have really enjoyment of that activities, my work activities, because we spent during our like job work third part of whole our lifetime. Yeah, and if you don't enjoy that, just change the things what you're doing. Another thing is this like cultural, religious, or patriotic motivation. It's very clear example that we have right now when Ukrainian people who volunteer extremely to and donate to Ukrainian army, to Ukrainian people, to some human aid. They work because they understand their belonging. So it's their sense. I'm a part of that big picture. I'm part of this big country, and I really like that people around that are healthy, happy, and that's motivate a lot. Just bring some things, some happiness, some valuable stuff to like my people, my team. My team is Ukraine. It's like large team, and now we need to fight a lot and win. And yeah, that's motivation is very reasonable for a lot of people right now. And if we talk about the roads for the inspiration. So that's a very popular topic, I guess. Uh, I can say exactly around about everyone, but for like our domain, I think dealing with the pet projects is the one of the largest inspirational roads that you can achieve. You have like your main job and you think about, or I'm like guy who can literally automate anything. Let's automate, I don't know, how I can order some pizza, or let's automate how I can switch my lighting or something else. And you can do that, and you start doing that, and you can look into the like GitHub or other sources where humans just sharing a lot their pet projects. And most of the technologies that we are using right now are starting like pet projects. uh, there are a lot of samples. I won't go with that whole list, but really the majority of the projects are starting like, okay, I have a like brilliant idea, and that inspiration moves you to discover something new, to learn something new, and learn some domains that you are not specific specialist on that, but that could brings you to the like new way to go. And if you like feel some demotivation or some problems, you can always jump into that pretty world of inventing and learning new things when you're creating something that you think would be helpful for others. That's cool. Also, you can like visit conferences, listen for podcasts. For me, it's very great source of inspiration when you listen some very wise people talk on the relative topics that you can understand. You get some new insights, and you say, "Oh, that's great. I think about that. I don't get the whole picture, but I can dig into that." And like some, there could be some even simple things that could inspire you. It's just to try to explain others what you are doing. Yeah, try to, I don't know, explain your neighbor's wife, daughter, anyone, your neighbor, your parents, uh, what how you're earning your money, what you're actually doing. And when you explain that, you got that inspiration because you can uh, provide that meaningfulness, yeah, but what you are doing actually. Try to do that with other people, and you got that inspiration automatically. Definitely, you need to stay healthy and try to do sports and try to uh, like get the real good cultural things like music, like I don't know, sports, series, anything that would make you healthy and joyful. And don't forget about procrastination. It's when you stop on the top point where you don't want to do the job that you need to do. Uh, you can wash your dishes. Like in my kitchen, there is no dish like the plates that are dirty because I procrastinate a bit, and or try to clean your computer, try to sort your photos, try to do something that you plan to do but you have no time, and that kind of activity would switch your brain out of that demotivational things. It's normal that you're doing something that is not directly related to your main job. But you need to understand that that context switching is important as well for your brain. And motivate it. Be kind to others. Uh, be grateful for that you have, and dream big. think about your country, your people, that would be healthy, that would be free, and that would-
Well, thank you so much for sharing with us. Clearly, that conversation, or rather that monologue, was from the heart. No slides. Takes a lot of courage to get up in front of a group of people and just talk. So, kudos to you for that. Also, your kitchen looks great. I wouldn't worry about it. You touched on a lot of things there, and a lot of things which, some of it professional, some of it very clearly personal. Uh, there was a lot in there though about a lot of it just came down to self-care, right? And just being aware of who you are and where you're at, where your emotional state is, and that goes as much for an IC on a team as it does for someone managing a team, managing managers who manage managers, right? Knowing yourself seems like it's actually the most important element there. uh, would you agree, or would you have any insight to add there?
I completely agree because there is no one who can understand you better than you are. And there's very like cultural things that you become very relative, very close to teammates, even to your managers. And only after some long time, long period, they could understand you clearly and they understand what you need at that particular time. Yeah. But it's your manager that working like for 3 weeks with you doesn't understand you clearly. But if you work together with some guy, girl for 5 years, that's possible. But no one beside you can know better. You need to take care anytime.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Making room, I suppose, for a certain amount of vulnerability, a certain amount of emotional accessibility, right? That can be difficult. It can be difficult for anybody under optimal circumstances, different personalities, different upbringings, different social expectations. All of these things are going to play in to that. Certainly, if you're a manager of people, well, that sort of speaks for itself, right? Your job is to try to help those people. Um, but I guess where I'm going with this is there too much, right? Like on the one side, as a people manager, right, I have a job, I have responsibility to my reports, I have responsibility to people above me. We have work that needs to be done. We have OKRs to crush, et cetera, right? A certain amount of professional detachment there is pretty much necessary. So, how do you walk that line between getting close enough to the people that you're responsible for without going, I guess, a little too far into what might hopefully not an inappropriate relationship, but just one that moves beyond an employee employer sort of custom?
I think that depends on the real circumstances that you are with that particular people. So when you try to achieve result from that employee, that your manager, then and that employee deliver poorly, then you have one sort of dialogue. And if that like guy who works with you for years and you understand that he would be good at any time, it's very closely to friendship, but friendship with some sort of bureaucracy, yeah, with some sort of rules. And that rules means like corporate culture. So the rules how you can achieve something that you need from that particular person, but you don't need to cross their borders. And at same time, even if I am close with my like people that I'm working with, sometimes I need to enter that bureaucracy level because sometimes when to have the results, and they are like laying above the friendship. And this is something when you need to clearly understand. You sometimes we have hard decision like to fire someone who you work with like many years, and that decisions comes very very hard. And but you need to separate that. It's very hard, and that's the things why underestimated that manager position in our like flat structural organizations, that oh that managers some design something that I don't bother with. But on that level is the very very hard work, is how to deal with the emotional statuses and complete the project in time. It's really very hard.
For sure. And as you know, we mentioned earlier, under optimal circumstances, this isn't easy. Certainly, under, let's say, less than optimal circumstances, it's going to become a little bit more difficult. Yeah, for sure. Talk a lot about giving your employees the room that they need to breathe, to take breaks if they need, to address things in their personal lives. That they can, that would be stopping them, would be preventing them from being productive, preventing them from being happy, right? That's going to, of course, follow through then to have, let's call it what it is, an impact on the bottom line of the organization, right? If you don't have a level of productivity that's being maintained, then you have to make readjustments. And the end of the day, that comes down to cash flow, that comes down to money. These are concerns that, on the one hand, we want to be human. On the other hand, we also want to run a business, right?
It's hard dilemma.
Yeah, that's the dilemma, exactly. And finding that balance, is tricky. One of the questions that came in from Q&A is it's kind of about money, right? Like, there's the trade-off there between money and consequences, right? On the one hand, we need to continue to move the business forward and be productive, to generate the cash that we need to do all these good things we want to do. On the other hand, there may be consequences for that. Like, assume a client approaches you and offers you a ton of money to do a thing, but you don't agree with what they're doing necessarily. Like, do you just go, okay, we need the money, and just go through with it? Do you consider maybe negotiating? Do you go, no, this is morally incorrect, and reject it outright? I mean, how do you handle a situation like that?
Actually, we have few levels of agreement, and the main level is the actually guys who would work with that. Yeah, so if I agreed that it's okay, it's normal to work with that, and I understand the reasonability behind that, I have my first stage say that, oh, that looks like illegal, or that looks like inappropriate. So I block that at the first stage, yeah, at the first contact or second contact. And if I think maybe that would be some reasonable things that I see in future that would like help someone, or even my country, and then I go to the guys and ask them, would you work with that? This circumstances, this customer is like he is doing that things. He like want those things. Would you agree to do with to deal with that? If they say okay, I'm okay, let's go. And if not, I can do that. So I won't find any things to like motivate that, because it's not normal. So only that kind of staging on the level when you can agree, and like finding that consensus in the team.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much. This is a subject I really would like to dive into more, spend way more time on. I think this would make for a great open space, honestly, is to really to deep dive on this. But we do want to move keep moving the content calendar forward here. So thank you so much for taking the time out to speak with us from the heart, without any slides. Really, really appreciate it. Volodymyr Tsap,
Thank you,
everybody.
Daniel.
Thank
Thank
you
you
so
for having
much.
me. Stay still. Slava Ukraini.